Roger Taylor knew Freddie Mercury longer than Brian May did. They met in 1968 when Roger was 18 years old and Freddie was 22, at a market stall in Kensington where both of them were selling secondhand clothing to make rent. They were together in every room that mattered for 23 years, the rehearsal rooms, the recording studios, the stages in every country that Queen played, the private spaces where bands exist when they are not performing. And Roger Taylor has never fully talked about the last room. The room in Mountain Studios in Montreux in 1991, when Freddie Mercury recorded his final vocal on Mother Love and said to Brian May, "Oh, Brian, I can't do anything else." Roger Taylor was there. He has said almost nothing about what he witnessed. In the years since, he has described the period in general terms: the sicker Freddie felt, the more he needed to record, but the specific quality of what it was to be in that studio, to be the person who had known Freddie Mercury the longest, to be present at the last thing Freddie's voice would ever do that he has kept. The friendship between Roger Taylor and Freddie Mercury is the least told story in Queen. This is as much of it as can be told. The beginning of Roger Taylor and Freddie Mercury is Kensington Market in 1968, a covered market in a building on Kensington High Street that was, in the late 1960s, the center of London's alternative fashion world. Roger Taylor had a clothing stall there. Freddie Mercury had a clothing stall there too. They were not yet in a band together. Freddie was working on his art college diploma at Ealing while selling clothes. Roger was already playing drums in Smile, the trio he had formed with Brian May. Freddie came to Smile's gigs. He watched them. He told Roger what he thought with the specific certainty that everyone who knew Freddie Mercury in this period has described: the certainty of someone who can see the potential in something more completely than the people doing it. Roger Taylor has described Freddie Mercury from this period as someone with an extraordinary vision of what Queen should be, not in terms of individual songs or albums, but in terms of what a band could be as a total proposition. And Roger Taylor listened to this vision and eventually built it with him and played drums for every concert Queen ever gave across 23 years, and was in the room in Montreux in 1991 when the voice that had carried the vision was used for the last time. The relationship between Roger Taylor and Freddie Mercury was differently significant from the relationship between Brian May and Freddie Mercury. Brian May and Freddie Mercury were the primary creative axis of Queen, the most publicly visible partnership, the most discussed. Roger Taylor's relationship was not less significant. It was the oldest. He was Freddie Mercury's first friend in Queen, not the deepest creative collaborator, but the person who had known him from before the evidence existed. The specific quality of knowing someone from before they were famous when they were a 22-year-old with a market stall and an extraordinary certainty about what they were going to do is different from knowing someone after they have become what they became. Roger Taylor knew Freddie Mercury when neither of them knew yet if any of it was going to happen. That knowledge is a different kind of closeness. Roger Taylor met Freddie Mercury at a market stall in 1968. He was 18. Freddie was 22. Neither of them knew. Roger Taylor was the first person in Queen to know Freddie Mercury. He was the last person to be in the studio when Freddie Mercury's voice was recorded for the final time. 23 years, from the market stall to Montreux. And he has said almost nothing about either end of it. The Made in Heaven recording sessions in 1991 at Mountain Studios in Montreux were, by the account of everyone present, unlike any recording sessions Queen had ever done. The sessions had begun after Innuendo was completed, at Freddie Mercury's specific instruction: "Write me things. Keep giving me things. I will sing them. You will finish them." Freddie Mercury came to the studio on the days he could come. Roger Taylor has described this with the specific quality of someone who was present and chose the most essential words rather than the most abundant ones. He said, the sicker he felt, the more it seemed like he needed to record. To give himself something to do, some reason to continue, he came when he could. So it was a period of intense work. These sentences, measured, restrained, accurate, are the sentences of someone who watched something very difficult and is reporting it without performance. Roger Taylor was at his drum kit for the sessions. He played what was needed, he watched what was happening at the microphone, and what was happening at the microphone was Freddie Mercury recording with a body that was failing and a voice that was not the specific paradox of the 1991 sessions that everyone who was there has described in their own way. The last vocal Freddie Mercury ever recorded was for Mother Love, the song he and Brian May had written together, with the specific awareness of people who understood it was one of the last things they would write together. The recording happened in May 1991. Roger Taylor was there. Freddie Mercury sang the verses. He sang the choruses. He came to the last verse and he said to Brian May, "Oh, Brian, I can't do anything else." Brian May sang the last verse in his own voice. Roger Taylor was present for this. The moment when Freddie Mercury's voice finished recording for the last time, the moment when Brian May began to sing in its place, Roger Taylor witnessed this from behind his drum kit, or from his position in the control room, present in whatever specific physical position he occupied in Mountain Studios that day. He has not described his experience of this moment. He has described the period in general terms. He has not described what it was like to be Roger Taylor, the person who had known Freddie Mercury from a market stall in 1968, sitting in the room when the voice stopped. The things Roger Taylor has said about losing Freddie Mercury are few and specific, and they carry a weight that is in proportion to their scarcity. He said to Rolling Stone, "I've never got over his death. None of us have done it. I think we all thought we could come to terms with it quite quickly, but we underestimated the impact his death had on our lives. It's still hard for me to talk about. For all of us, it's like Queen started another life entirely." These sentences are the sentences of someone who is not withholding for any reason except that the thing is genuinely hard to talk about. Roger Taylor is not a naturally reticent person. He gives interviews. He speaks about his career. He has been publicly visible across decades of Queen's history and his own solo work. When he speaks about Freddie Mercury with this specific quality of restraint, the restraint is not performance. It is the actual difficulty of the subject. Some things are hard to talk about because they are genuinely too large for ordinary language. And for Roger Taylor, what happened in Montreux in 1991 and what happened on the 24th of November of that year appears to be one of those things. I've never got over his death. Roger Taylor said this, not past tense, not in the context of a specific anniversary or memorial, simply have not got over, present continuous. The thing that happened in 1991 is a thing that is still happening to Roger Taylor. He witnessed the last recording. He witnessed, from the beginning, how the whole thing started. He has said almost nothing about either. The silence is the weight of it. The specific shared experience of Roger Taylor and Freddie Mercury across the concert years was the physical and rhythmic foundation of every performance. Roger Taylor played drums. Freddie Mercury sang. The relationship between a singer and a drummer is the most physical in a band. The drummer sets the pulse, the singer breathes and phrases against. Roger Taylor has been asked about playing behind Freddie Mercury on stage. He has given answers that circle the thing rather than land directly on it. That Freddie was extraordinary. That what he did with a crowd was unlike anything else. These answers are true. They are also the answers of someone who was so close to the thing, who played drums behind Freddie Mercury at every concert Queen ever gave, that describing it from the inside is harder than describing it from the outside. In 1994, 3 years after Freddie Mercury died, Roger Taylor released a song called Foreign Sand on his solo album Happiness. The song was a collaboration with Yoshiki, the Japanese musician and composer. It was not explicitly described as being about Freddie Mercury. Roger Taylor has never explicitly said who it was for. But the song describes a foreign shore that someone has gone to, a place beyond reach, a shore that the singer cannot follow the person to. The lyric does not name the person. It does not need to. In the context of what Roger Taylor had lost 3 years before, the song speaks from a position that does not require identification. A person has gone to a shore that cannot be reached. The person who loved them is still on the near shore, still looking. Roger Taylor wrote this song 3 years after standing in Mountain Studios while Freddie Mercury's voice was recorded for the last time. He has never said it was about Freddie. He has said almost nothing about who it was for. That silence in the song that surrounds it is the most complete statement Roger Taylor has made about what the loss was. There is a specific quality to the grief of someone who knew a person from the very beginning, who was present at the first moment and the last. Roger Taylor met Freddie Mercury when he was a 22-year-old selling clothes from a market stall. Before the music, before any evidence that the life was going to become what it became. He was there in the room when the voice that had spent 23 years becoming what it became was used for the last time. The arc from the market stall to the mountain studio is the arc of the whole thing. Roger Taylor held both ends. He was at the stall in 1968. He was in the studio in 1991. And he has kept what that meant mostly inside. A market stall in Kensington in 1968. A recording studio in Montreux in 1991. 23 years. The same two people at either end. Roger Taylor was there at the beginning, the first of them to know Freddie Mercury. He was there at the last recording. He played drums at every concert in between. He has said he has never got over the death. He has never fully explained what it was to be there at the end when he had been there from the start. And the not explaining carries the weight of the whole arc. Roger Taylor still plays drums. Queen plus Adam Lambert, the touring configuration that Brian May and Roger Taylor have maintained since 2012, performs in arenas and stadiums with the recordings of Freddie Mercury and with Adam Lambert singing the songs live. Roger Taylor has said that playing these concerts is both necessary and difficult in a way that does not simplify over time. He has described the experience of performing Freddie Mercury's music with another vocalist as something that carries its own specific grief. The knowledge that the music is the same music, and that the voice that made it is not there, and that the presence of Adam Lambert, who is excellent, who honors the music, who understands what the role requires, does not resolve the original absence. It places it. Every concert places the absence. Roger Taylor plays drums behind it, as he has played drums behind the music for 50 years. He was there from the beginning. He is here at whatever this is. The drumbeat continues. The silence that Roger Taylor has maintained about the specific experience of Montreux in 1991, about what it was to watch Freddie Mercury record his last vocal, about what the room contained when the voice stopped, is not in communicativeness. Roger Taylor communicates. He has given hundreds of interviews across his career. He has spoken about Queen's music, about the making of albums, about the touring years, about his own solo work, about the experience of performing with Adam Lambert. He has spoken about Freddie Mercury in the general terms of tribute and love and loss. He has not spoken about the specific room, the specific conversation in the studio when Freddie said, "Oh, Brian, I can't do anything else." The specific moment. What was in his face when he heard that sentence? What he did afterward? What it meant to be Roger Taylor, the person from the Kensington market stall, the oldest friend in the band in that room. He has kept that. And the keeping of it is the most honest thing that can be said about what it contained. Brian May sang the last verse of Mother Love because Freddie Mercury could not. Roger Taylor was there. He was the first person in Queen to know Freddie Mercury. He was present at the last recording. He has never talked about what he saw. The silence is not nothing. The silence is the size of the thing. And the only way to honor the size of the thing is to say, the silence is the right size for it. Roger Taylor met Freddie Mercury at a market stall in 1968. He played drums at every concert Queen ever gave. He was in Mountain Studios in Montreux in 1991 when Freddie Mercury's voice was recorded for the last time. He has said, "I've never got over his death." He wrote a song called Foreign Sand 3 years later and never said who it was for. He plays drums in stadiums today with the recordings of Freddie Mercury playing around him and does not pretend that this is the same as what it was. He was there at the beginning when there was no evidence that any of it would happen. He was there at the end when the evidence of all of it had been made. The friendship between Roger Taylor and Freddie Mercury is the least told story in Queen because Roger Taylor has chosen not to tell it. And the not telling is, in its own way, the most complete telling. As some things are not smaller for being unspoken. Some things are the size they are precisely because the right person chose to keep them.